Good morning. As I told you, I am reading Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Um, a lot of sophomoric humor, written from a boy's perspective. Greg Gaines is the main character, and I don't know that I would. Uh, it's got a lot of language in it, and it can be a little on the raunchy side. Earl, his friend, is a little on the raunchy side. Earl, though, is an interesting character. Um, he lives in a house that you can visualize unlike anything I've ever read. His mother is an alcoholic. He's got brothers. The mother stays upstairs. The house is a complete wreck. It smells. It's just a nightmare. The kids pretty much raise themselves. And he ends up being, it's the prediction that I had about him, and right now I'm taking you through these three key questions and strategies, and I want you to listen to what I could write about in my reflections notebook and see how kids can talk about books, different books that they're reading without reading a classroom novel. I'm going to tell you right now, when you choose the classroom novel and you teach what you want to teach, it's all about you. And I realized after 15 years of teaching, it had been all about me and what I wanted the kids to read and love. And yes, it is important for them to have anchor text. I think that it is important for them to be able to discuss things that they have in common. But I think the majority of independent reading should be choice reading. Um, the prediction about, what I had about Earl was way off. He ends up in the end being the stronger of the two characters. Um, Greg Gaines is a senior, and the inferencing that I make from the very beginning is Greg dodges any kind of strong connection to one person or one group of people. He doesn't even go to lunch, because if you go to lunch, you have to commit to being in a group, and how high schools work. He talks about there being the theater people and the dorks and the rich people and etc. And he doesn't even go to lunch because that would make him have to commit. And so in the morning he goes into school and he talks to everybody, and that's the way he protects himself. Earl is who he is, and he is who he is throughout the book, and ends up, really being the more introspective character until the very end of the book. Um, the dying girl is Rachel. Rachel is a girl that is not popular. She was in church with Earl. They're both Jewish. And Greg's mother comes home at some point and says, hey, you and Rachel were friends since childhood. You need to know she has cancer. Um, on the book, it makes connections to Fault in Our Stars. And although there is the same premise of a dying girl, they are nothing alike. That's the text-to-text connection I'm going to make, is they are nothing alike. He learns so much through reconnecting with Rachel. He doesn't want to reconnect with her, but his mother keeps pressuring him to. And, Greg doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who he is in life. He doesn't know who really he wants to be. But by connecting with Rachel and forming this relationship with her, he has to face the fact that, he needs to decide who he is and how he's going to behave and what his existence is, and, figure it all out. So my text-to-text connection is that they say it's like Fault in the Stars. It's not. They don't fall in love, but she does have a profound effect on him. Text to self, I had more of connections with what I see in high schools today. When I was teaching in 2009, the different groups, and I was able to draw some similarities with that, and understand it. And of course, when I was a high schooler, how it was then too. Um, this book is more realistic about what's going on in today's world. It addresses teen topics that I didn't have to deal with. Um, so, I thought a lot about my students and issues that they go through, and how those two connected. Text to world. Um, Part of this story really made me sad because I think our teenagers, our middle and high school students, are kind of being left in many cases to raise themselves. Both parents are working. We have a high level of divorce. Um, of course, we are now in the age of entitlement. People are focused on money. There have been big changes in society. And, watching the result of this in Earl's world, I really did a lot of thinking about that. You know, Greg is very sarcastic, and his feelings come through in his sarcasm, so it was easy to make a lot of inferences about him, as I said earlier. Greg, if I was summarizing, Greg wanted to fit in, but he feared it. I think he feared rejection. I had to add an "and" to the somebody wanted it so. And until he met Rachel, he really didn't question who he was and his intentions and his existence and his behavior. So when he reconnects with Rachel, and I'm not going to tell you the ending, it is definitely a coming of age story. Catcher in the Rye, which has been banned in schools, there's some similarities there if I was connecting text to text with the type of person that he is, although he does have the support of his family. Having students write to these research-based strategies helps them comprehend, helps them think critically, and that's what I really want you guys to do. Visually, I could visualize all of this. I could see Greg. He's a little overweight. I could see his family. His family was a professor. I could relate to the father. There's a very good description of that family. He had support at home. Earl, you don't get a physical description of him to the end, and it's almost shocking. My prediction of what he looks like was completely off. And I would make note of that in the notebook, because then the kids are really thinking about what they're reading, and that's what you want them to do. You want them to lock on instead of thinking about the boy that's sitting across the room, or the party that's on Saturday night, or the fight they got in with their parents. You have to teach them how to lock on to what they're reading. And first they've got to do it with books that they love, and then they have to transport those skills into books that are a little bit more complex, or things that they don't enjoy reading as much, because they have to do that. That is my thoughts. Okay. Hope you have a great day. I hope this helped you a little bit. Have a good day.